My name is Dr. Paul MacCotter of UCC, and this is Mr. Paudí, local historian. I'm very well, Paudí. We are here to feature the more interesting local heritage sites of the village of Killeagh, as well as detailing the findings of the archaeological exploration N25 Killeagh pavement scheme. This is near the old Killeagh Church and is on behalf of Rubicon Heritage Services, Transport Infrastructure Ireland and Cork County Council.
So we're outside Killeagh House here, Paul, which was built in 1767. We have a plaque up over the door here. It's built by John Davis, who were agents on the Capel Supple estate. The Supples came into Killeagh here in the Anglo-Norman invasion, and they settled here in Killeagh.
They were the Norman lords of the manor of Killeagh near Castlemartyr. The first of them was Philip de la Chapelle, who got a grant of Killeagh in 1183. The surname means of the chapel, and he was perhaps a laicized priest. The family continued to flourish in Killeagh throughout the 13th and 14th centuries, and their family tree can be followed down to the late 1300s. Then we have a gap in our records until the family re-emerged in the 1570s, but now known as Supple. This was due to Irish being the spoken language of the period. At the same time, the Ichthymorach lands were hived off to a related branch of the Supples. Edmund Supple of Ahadoe died in 1604, leaving a child as heir, William. As the manor of Inchiquin was held by the Earl of Cork, Richard Boyle, under feudal law, he became entitled to take over the child William and raise him a Protestant at Lismore Castle. Boyle sent William to Cambridge University, and in 1622 married William off to the daughter of Sir William Smith, a wealthy landlord. William's descendants continued to be among the leading Protestants in East Cork for 3 centuries after this. William built a mansion house at Ahadoe probably during the 1630s. A later generation is represented by Richard Supple, who spent most of his life in England, where he married a wealthy heiress. He had the old Ahadoe house demolished and rebuilt, and this is the house of the present as we see over here. His son Richard was created a baronet in 1803 and changed his name to de Capel-Brook. The family continued their association with Killeagh, even though losing most of their lands to the tenants under the Land Acts. The family donated Glenbower Wood to the Irish state in 1838, and they became extinct in the mail line in 1968.
We're at the site here of Ahadoe House, which has the dovecote here behind me, which is clad in ivy, and on the dovecote we have this shield na gig. It's one of 9 in County Cork and the only one in East Cork. There's around 167 of them in all of Ireland and some in England and northern France as well. This particular one has nodules on its right wrist. Its ribs are kind of exposed, as is its vulva, and it's holding a phallic symbol of some sort in its left hand. The significance of them is unknown, whether they were used to ward off evil. A lot of them were kind of found over churches around the country. They could also be fertility symbols or something else. This one signifies the importance of Ahadoe and the association with the Tower House that was here in around the 15th century. We're at the site here of Drumdoya House, where Roger Green Davis built in 1833. They came up from the village where we were at Killeagh House. So this is an amazing structure. A lot of the tenants at the time when he built here were evicted off the land and the townland of Drumdoya. And there was old mass pats blocked off, and it caused a bit of consternation. He took some legal action at the time to try and close off some of the village in the courts, but he failed in that. After the famine, I suppose a lot of tenant numbers would have fell off, his rents would have fell off, and thus the mortgage probably be paying. So he sold his interest in 1863, and that gave the descriptive particulars of that sale, give details of the inside of the house and around. In the 1920s, the O'Mahony family came up from Bearings. A lot of all the land here was wooded. They set up a sawmills in the factory here behind, and they lived in the stables. The house here itself then fell into disrepair when the roof was taken off due to wraiths, and Malcolm Sparrow is currently in the process of restoring it and making it back to its former glory.
The saint whose name is given to this church of Killeagh is Saint Killeagh. This suggests that she founded the church and disagrees with its history. She had associations with Finbar of Cork, and legends associated with Killeagh can be found in Cornwall and Brittany. So important was she in these places that she had at least 2 churches called after her, at St Ives in Cornwall and at Paudí in Brittany. Early but undateable accounts tell of how Killeagh missed the boat, as she had been called by Finbar to follow him to Cornwall but missed the connection. She then followed St Finbar of Cork across the sea to Cornwall, floating upon a leaf, if you believe. She spread Christianity in Cornwall until she was killed by a local king. This account is likely to be very early and to relate to the political background of the 5th century connections between Munster and Cornwall. There were significant Irish settlements from Waterford and East Cork during the 4th and 5th centuries. Another saint associated with Killeagh is Saint Farrell, and yet a third is Bishop Lieber, once again showing the ancient link between Cork, Cornwall and Killeagh.
And the church behind us here is the Church of Ireland, which was built in 1812, but before that it's on the site of the medieval church which was associated with this graveyard. And I suppose the excavations in 2016 that were done as part of the road infrastructure exposed that the graveyard went outside that boundary, and where they found the amphora, which was people were drinking wine back in the 5th and 6th centuries here in Killeagh. And I suppose it further shows the early ecclesiastical site that Killeagh Village was, going back to that time.